Finally, the movie that we've all been waiting for is finally here. What's up, guys? It's all about Mike 18 here, guys. I'm sorry for that creepy intro. I was looking forward to this movie all week long. Even weeks before this movie was supposed to come out, I was looking forward to it. I could not wait to see Man of Steel. The marketing, the trailers, everything looked cool for this movie. You know what? I just gave it away. But yeah, guys, that's what I'm going to be reviewing in this video. It is Man of Steel Day. Guys, Man of Steel's finally in the theaters, and this movie definitely cracked my list for my most highly anticipated films of the year. I could not wait till I got to see this movie, and I'm so glad I finally got to see it. I know this review is technically late because everyone basically already has their review up. Critics, everyone got advanced screenings or they went to the midnight premiere. But I'm late, of course, so I'm sorry, guys. But here it is. I went to my crowded theater today to see it, and I'm so glad I finally got to see it. I was a little shocked when some critics were saying that it wasn't that great. 57 on Rotten Tomatoes isn't that good. But you know what, guys? I still told myself, you know what? I'm going to enjoy this movie. I know in my heart, deep down, I'm going to enjoy the hell out of Man of Steel. And did I? That's the question. Did I enjoy Man of Steel? Yes, I did. I enjoyed this movie so much, guys. This was the movie I was looking forward to, and it paid off, guys. It really did. Did it have its flaws? Yes, it did. This movie was not perfect, so I'll get into those flaws a little bit later on. Right now, guys, I want to get into the story, and as you know, guys, I won't spoil. You can trust me here for a spoiler-free review. With movies like these, with big movies like this, people don't like to have spoilers. Trust me, guys, I'm not going to spoil this movie. I'm going to sum up the plot and the story without spoiling it. So here it is. Here's the story. The movie first takes place in the opening scene on Krypton. Now, Krypton is it's slowly being destroyed. It is in ruin. It's a mess on Krypton, and you have Jor-El watching as his planet is just falling apart, and he watches as his wife gives birth to his newborn son, young Kal-El, and he realizes he's got to get Kal-El, his son, off this planet before. He just needs to get him off for one specific reason that I'm not going to go into, and so he puts his son in this like life pod kind of ship, sends him to what other planet? Earth, of course. And he told his son, even though obviously young Kal-El can't hear what he's saying, he told him he knew that one day his son would accomplish greatness, even though society would not accept him, because he's going to be different from every other human with his powers that he has, that he will have, and will realize he has. So they send off Kal-El to Earth just as Krypton falls to ruins and goes to crap. And Kal-El lands in Smallville, and he's found by, of course, Martha and Jonathan Kent, who take him in as their own son, give him the name Clark Kent, as he is sent and he's now living amongst the humans. He's going to school. He begins to realize that he is standing out from everyone else, and that he has different powers, and he can do different things as compared to everyone else around him. And he realizes that, you know, something's up. There's no way I can be a human. I know that there's a past. I have a certain past that I know there's something special about me. But anyway, he grows up and becomes Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill plays the adult Clark Kent, and as we all know, Clark Kent meets Lois Lane, played by Amy Adams, who gets involved with him for some specific reason I'm not going to get into, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to explain the plot without spoiling anything. And of course, he realizes that he must become Superman, and he must face his first greatest threat on Earth, and that is the threat of the main antagonist, who is General Zod, played by Michael Shannon. I could not wait to see Michael Shannon as Zod in this movie, and Zod was awesome. But Zod has this big plan for Earth. He's got something he wants to do to Earth, and I can't explain why. It can end in a lot of casualties, that's for sure. And Superman's got to stop Zod's plan and his kind of like army. So guys, that's basically the whole plot behind Man of Steel without spoiling it. Overall, the story was good. Could have been better in a few parts. I'll get into that. I'll tell you one thing. The opening scene in this movie was fantastic. Really got me hooked into the movie, and I was so blown away by that opening scene. Anyway, guys, the next thing I want to get into real quick is the performances behind this movie, the cast. This movie has a huge cast. Just take a look at the poster itself. It has the whole big cast listed on the poster, and the cast was great. You have Henry Cavill, Amy Adams, Michael Shannon, Russell Crowe, Diane Lane, Kevin Costner, and Lawrence Fishburne. That is a cast right there. That is a perfect summer movie cast. First off, let's talk about Henry Cavill, of course, as Superman / Clark Kent. That is the big question everyone had. How is he compared? How is Henry Cavill? Is he a good Superman or not? So, how was Henry Cavill? I thought he did a very good job as Superman, good job as Clark Kent, and I really was into his performance for the most part of the movie. Henry Cavill did a great job. Now, I wouldn't compare him to Christopher Reeve or the other Supermans. I can't compare him to Brandon Routh. I can't compare him to Christopher Reeve and the other Supermans because I haven't seen the older Superman movies. I know, guys, I apologize for that. I am deeply sorry, but I didn't see those. I did see Superman Returns, which I didn't like that much. It was okay. But Henry Cavill played a better Superman in this than Brandon Routh did, in my opinion, and I just liked this Superman movie better than Superman Returns in general. But Henry Cavill was great. He looks like Superman, of course. All the girls in my theater, all the girls that were in the theater lost it when he had his shirt off a few times in this movie, but that was expected. Who else? We have Amy Adams playing Lois Lane. Amy Adams gives a great performance, of course. Everyone gave a great performance. I'm just going to name them off. Michael Shannon. Another one I want to talk about for a second. Michael Shannon, I couldn't wait to see in this movie. He was great in Premium Rush as the main antagonist in that. And then we have him again as an antagonist in this as Zod. And great foe for Superman. Really strong matched villain. There's a few great fights between him and Superman in this movie that were awesome. And I thought Michael Shannon played a great Zod, and I was really impressed with him in this movie. So Michael Shannon was great. Russell Crowe as Jor-El, Superman's real father. I thought that was a great casting choice, and Russell Crowe gave a great performance in this movie. They gave him some of the best lines in the movie, in the scenes that he was in, and I really loved Russell Crowe in this movie. Who else we have? We have Diane Lane as Martha Kent. Diane Lane gave a great performance, and we have Kevin Costner, who was also given a few great lines as Jonathan Kent. He was good in the movie. Really enjoyed that. And you also have Lawrence Fishburne, who's the head of the Daily Planet. He did a good job in his scene. So overall, guys, the cast was great. No complaints with the cast. I think the next thing, guys, I want to get into is this movie's rating. Man of Steel, guys, is rated PG-13. This is for the parents. Parents, you know what? Take your kids to go see this movie. They are going to enjoy the hell out of it. This movie is meant for kids and young teenagers that haven't seen Superman, to get them interested into Superman. They haven't seen the older Superman movies. They're going to watch this. They're going to love it. Trust me, parents. Please take your kids to go see Man of Steel. There is some action. There is a lot of violence, and there is a lot of action. There's fighting. But you know what? I'm telling you, kids, there were kids in my theater. Everyone that comes out of this movie are going to be blown away by the action and the fights in this film. So take your kids to go see it. That's all I'm going to say with that. So guys, moving on, getting into the things I liked and did not like. I'm going to give my rating for the film. It was tough for me to give this rating, guys. I was torn for two reasons. The action was so great, but then I had two big problems with the film. That's why I couldn't give this movie a 9. I wanted to give Man of Steel a 9. I walked into the theater and I said, you know what, this movie's probably going to be a 9. Then the middle happened and I said, I can't give it a 9. Then the end happened and I said, I want to give it a 9, but I can't. So I'm going to give Man of Steel an 8.75. 8.75. I'm sorry, guys. I mean, the movie's good, but if you're going in thinking it was flawless, which I almost did think it was going to be flawless, excuse me, it's not. There are some flaws with this film. It's not perfect, but it's still a really good movie that I did enjoy. So, guys, Man of Steel, 8.75 out of 10. Here's why I gave it that exact rating. Overall, the story was good. I enjoyed it overall. The premise was good. I was into it. What else? The performances were all great. I already mentioned all that. Henry Cavill was a great Superman. I thought he did a good job. Russell Crowe was good in the movie, and really enjoyed Michael Shannon as Zod. Everyone gave a good performance. Really impressed with all of that. moving into the score, Hans Zimmer's score. I love Hans Zimmer. He composed the Dark Knight trilogy score. By the way, Nolan produced this movie. Zack Snyder directed it. I'll talk about Snyder in a second. But Hans Zimmer's score was great for the most part. I really enjoyed it. I can't get that one theme out of my head. I gotta go look for it online later. Anyway. Not Hans Zimmer. Zack Snyder's direction was good overall. There was good camera work, good direction overall from Zack Snyder. Even though I haven't seen any of his other films, so I enjoyed his first film that I saw from him. So that was great for Zack Snyder. Thought he did a great job directing. But the thing that I will get into next, guys, that absolutely blew me away with this film, and I'm sure it blew you guys all the way too. That is the production design, the visuals, and the action. First off, the production design is great. The sets look really cool, especially in the end of the movie. The final city battle set with all the rubble and the destruction all over the place, that looked fantastic. You have buildings falling down, you got buildings getting shot at, people flying through buildings, you got ships shooting at people, and fires and explosions, and it all looked great. That was all great. The costume design, every character wore great looking costumes, especially the Kryptonians. And Superman's new costume, I thought it looked great. It was redesigned. I thought it looked pretty damn good. Other things, the visuals. This movie's visual effects were absolutely fantastic, guys. I was so impressed with the visuals behind this film. That is the one thing to remember with Man of Steel. That's one of the things. The visuals were excellent. I'm going to say this right now. If Man of Steel does not get nominated for an Academy Award for Best Visuals, which is a award, that category I follow very closely because I love that category, I'm going to be pissed with the Academy because this film better get nominated. So far, out of all the films I saw with good visuals this year, I'm pretty sure this was the best. This film was excellent with the visuals. Everything looked so cool and really mind-blowing stuff to look at with this movie's visuals. With the explosions, the ships, the fights, everything. The cool camera work when Superman's flying around, that was all great. That's getting back to camera work and cinematography, which was all good. But the last thing I want to get into, basically, is the action. Now, critics were saying that the action was too much in this movie. I was shocked at that. I was like, wow, really? You're really complaining that there's too much action? Everyone was saying I want there to be a lot of action. I went into this movie, and the action there's a lot. There's so much of it, and I was so pleased with that. For me, guys, you're not going to hear me complaining about that there's too much action in a movie. For me, there can never be too much action in a movie. Never. Never for me. Unless you have one movie where there's all action and nothing else in it, no story, no nothing, no structure, then I'll hate the movie. But this movie's got story, it's got a structure, and it has the great action in the last hour, and I loved it. The Superman and Zod fights were epic. When they're flying around, they're flying through buildings. It's so cool. Superman's using his heat vision, and it's so awesome. There is so much action in it, and I loved it. I don't care that there was a lot. I enjoyed the hell out of the last hour of this movie. Even the opening scene, which I really loved. There was so much cool action in that, and I loved it. And the ending scene, the last thing I'm going to talk about, I don't think there was a post-credit scene, but the ending scene set it up for a sequel, and I will be there for the sequel. I definitely will. I loved that ending scene. I loved it. It was beautiful. I thought it was genius writing, I meant to say, that ending scene. I really enjoyed it. Anyway, guys, lastly, the last thing I will get into, this is the part I don't want to tell you guys was bad with the movie, but it is. Two things I didn't like about the movie. Number one, the story, in mostly the middle, I thought kind of fell apart. The writing kind of went down some point in the middle. I don't know why. It was just kind of weaker, It wasn't as strong as the beginning and the end, in my opinion. I thought that some things were just thrown onto the screen. Some things were rushed with the movie. Some parts of the story were just absolutely rushed, and I really wasn't pleased. I mean, you have a character in this one scene, and then you see that character in this next scene in some completely different place. You're saying, how the hell did they get from there to there? You're like, what's going on here? So with scenes like that in the middle, that I was like, that's kind of sloppy. It felt like they had left some of the scenes out. But I understand why. This movie's long. You can't have that many scenes. It's going to be too long. But that was a complaint I had with the film. Some scenes, the writing was kind of poor. And the other thing with this movie, the editing on some of the scenes, and most of the beginning and the middle, I thought was it bothered me a little bit because you know that we're gonna get an origin story with this movie of Superman, but you have that origin story in flashbacks throughout the entire movie for the most part. And I wasn't too pleased with that because you have one flashback and you have another, you have another, and you have another, and I'm just like, I don't like how that was done. If it was me, I would have had Superman. I would have had Clark Kent. I would have shown him growing up and going through everything he went through, and then I just would have showed him as an adult and went on with the rest of the movie. So that, I think that's the editing or even the story writing. So that's where the fault lies there, guys. For me, that's the thing I didn't like too much about the movie. I'm sorry, guys, but that was really the only two complaints I had with the film. If those two complaints had been fixed, the editing would have been fixed a bit with those flashbacks, and the writing, if it would have been better and it wouldn't have felt like some scenes were sloppy in the middle, I would have loved the hell out of this movie. There was this one portion in the middle I said, oh, what's going on with this movie? And then it got really good in the end, and I'm like, oh, that's it. I love this movie. So yeah, guys, 8.75 out of 10 for Man of Steel. I loved it, guys. It's a great summer action film. It's a lot better than Superman Returns, and I really enjoyed it. So far, it's one of the best films I've seen all year. I haven't seen that many huge, really good films, but this is probably one of those. It could get kicked off that top 10 list at the end of the year. I don't know, but so far, I really enjoyed it, guys. So yeah, 8.75 out of 10. I highly recommend you check out Man of Steel, mainly for one reason. This is that movie that is meant to be seen on the big screen in the ice-cold movie theaters with the AC pumping. I didn't see it in 3D, so I'm not going to recommend it in 3D. I didn't see it, but you have to see this movie on the big screen in 2D at least, because of the cool action that you're going to be blown away by. If you just see this movie on Blu-ray at home, you're going to be blown away by the picture quality and all that, but you're going to say to yourself, oh man, I should have saw it on the big screen in the theater. So please go out and see Man of Steel. It's definitely a fun movie experience. It's probably the most fun I had at the movies all year long, and I really enjoyed it, guys. So yeah, it's definitely a buy on Blu-ray for me. I really enjoyed it as an action film, and I can't wait for the sequel now. I would be glad to see the sequel, even though I could see that it would fail. I thought Zack Synder did a great job, and overall, guys, I really enjoyed Man of Steel. So thank you for watching my review, guys. I hope you enjoyed the movie, too. Let me know in the comments what you thought of it. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you think that it could have been better? It had its faults, but overall, guys, I really enjoyed it. Pretty fun. Good action film, good superhero movie as well. Really enjoyed it as a Superman movie. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned for more movie reviews coming soon. Bye, guys.